So you're talking about working on that change within, and obviously it starts with within, and we've learned that hands down. We've learned that. But a lot of people want that magic bullet.
Sure.
And I know you.
We did too.
We did.
Definitely.
We did, and we did like a lot of people do these days. We searched everywhere.
Sure.
I mean, you were trying everything, reading everything. If there's any like one, let's just say one huge takeaway that somebody can walk away from this going, I need to do that, or I must do this, or I must incorporate this, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
That's a loaded question. But
it is, because if anything we've learned is that it never ends with what you need to work on with relationships. So maybe here's my tip, is that in a relationship, it doesn't end. The work never ends. And I think that when you go into marriage, you have a honeymoon picture, thinking that life's going to be fantastic, and sure, marriage is going to be some work. I'm going to have to work on it. But what I've learned, and what I think you've learned, is that really marriage is an everyday commitment. You have to work every day at it. There's not a day that goes by that we don't put effort into our marriage in some form. It may be small, it may be big, but if we don't do that, those are the times where maybe it's been 2 or 3 or 4 days where we didn't put a little bit of effort, and then we start feeling disconnected. And over the last, when we were struggling 1.5 years, 2 years ago, that's what was happening, was those times are going longer and longer that we didn't work on our marriage, or we didn't make our marriage a priority. And then after time, you look back, oh my gosh, it's been like 6 months, things are not looking good. Like, this is not good. So after we kind of had this transformation, I realized that it's an everyday commitment. You have to work on it every single day, in little ways, in big ways. You have to commit to a relationship and to making it work. It doesn't stop. As unromantic as that might sound. But
I got to follow up to that. But before I get to that, I just have to share, because some of you may think that, okay, we scripted this, or I'm going to go over these things, because I interview a lot. So I had no idea what I was going to ask her. And the worst part is I had no idea how she was going to answer. So I was a little nervous. How's she going to answer that? You brought up the topic of work in a relationship. Will both sides always, do their part?
Of course not. No, of course not. You and I are often not on the same page like that. I think that's just part of marriage. And part of a relationship is that oftentimes one side tends to be stronger than the other, and then you'll switch. One side maybe tends to have more energy and more motivation than the other, and then oftentimes you'll switch. Obviously, the goal is to find some kind of balance within that, and to come together and decide what is it within our relationship that we really need to focus on. And at the time you and I were struggling, there was a whole bunch of stuff. Like, there was a lot. But really what we did is we started to focus on one thing at a time. And it was because of these little light bulbs that went on. Oh, I need to start focusing on accepting my husband a little bit more. I'm trying to change him. Work on that for a little while. Then I have another idea. Oh, I probably should start being accountable in these arguments that we're having. These aren't going so well. I need to work on these arguments that we're having. So I think that the idea of having to work on everything at once is crazy, and that's going to drive you crazy, and it will probably set you up for failure. But I think coming to an agreement on what is one thing that we can agree on, that we can work on together, and start working on that. Figure out some strategies that are going to help you. We do this all the time. What are some strategies that we're going to be able to agree on that can help improve this challenge that we're having in our relationship? And instead of taking everything, take one thing, come up with some strategies, and then start trying to work through that together. And once you kind of feel like you got a handle on that, then you can pick up on another thing.